As I understand it, David Goyer and Chris do the first pass on that. They do the story basically, and then it's your time to do the first draft of it. So this is the introduction of the Joker. This is Heath Ledger. Now, was Heath in mind at that point? Like when they bring the story to you, does Chris say, "I think this could be Heath Ledger"?
I'm trying to remember when that conversation took place. I don't think so. I think that the story, such as it was it sort of started out fairly detailed, and then it kind of got more abstruse, and we got to the third act, and there was kind of a hand wave, and it was like, and then he rides off from the sunset. It was kind of like, it wasn't fully fleshed out, as it shouldn't be, right? Like, it's kind of I think it's a mistake to try to be that prescriptive at that stage. So it was like a loose set, like what I was presented with was a handful of index cards on a board that Chris kind of walked me through. We're like, here's where we start, we get to this, and we get to that. And then he went off to make The Prestige. I had worked on Batman Begins. I'd worked on Batman Begins from an early stage. Chris had gone off and was into prep. We were going to make The Prestige. Jeff Robinoff was running Warner's at the time, really, the sort of godfather of those early projects with us at Warner Brothers. And Jeff was nervous that Chris needed more time to prep the film. And so I got called in, and I think Jeff said to my brother at one point, he's like, well, you like working with your brother. Why don't we'll happily pay for your brother to be with you and work on this thing. So I sort of came in as a consultant and worked on that. But wound up living in a hotel in London for months and months and months trying to help figure out how this thing would work. Because Chris had so much on his plate figuring out all of the prep, all the cars, all the stuff, all that amazing world building that he was doing. And so when we came to The Dark Knight, for me, from my perspective, having kind of been, having spent the time on the first film, I think Chris was somewhat reluctant to do it, which is why I don't think the casting conversation started in earnest before I'd gone off to write a draft. He was making The Prestige, and he was, frankly, unsure about whether he wanted to make another Batman movie, right? I don't think he wanted to repeat himself, and I think he was I think he was very satisfied with the film he made. I think he was very proud of Batman Begins. I was as well, but from my perspective, I was like, it's like we've made this sports car. It's like we've built this sports car, and don't you want to take it for a drive? The first film, 59 minutes of it, is origin mythos. The film is called Batman Begins. I'm like, don't you want to? So for me, the challenge, it felt clear to me that Chris was on the fence about making another movie. And so I felt with that first draft, it was kind of on me to prove
of concept. This is worth doing. Yeah.